Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Mindful Empath. My name is Michael Evans. This podcast is dedicated to and for those of us who feel the world in HD and are learning to tune the dials. Today, we're going to talk about how it kind of all comes together in practice and a little bit of the why. Because really, more than really anything else, this podcast is for those people who feel like their empathy is an albatross, is a bug, is some sort of symptom of defectiveness. And I want to encourage and assure you that it is not. It is a feature, not a bug. And we just need to learn how to work within ourselves and work with others in order to see all the beautiful things that living an empathic life can afford to you. That being said, I get it. It's overwhelming. And for anybody out there that is listening to this that still experiences overwhelm, I am here to tell you that a mindful approach to your emotions is the way through it. The only way out is in. The only way around is through. I've dedicated quite a bit of my energy in my adult life to not be a part of the systems and organizations that exist in order to give you a free license to spiritually bypass the hard stuff. This is not about just looking on the bright side. There's no real silver lining here necessarily. This is about giving you a perspective and the tools to navigate through life in a way that allows you to go through it and manage your stuff rather than letting it manage you. So if you feel like when you walk into a crowded room and it feels like a tidal wave of emotions and it hits you, or that you're listening to a friend's sad story and you're not just hearing it, you're actually feeling it in your body as if it's your own. For the mindful empath, it isn't just a mental state, it's a physical, emotional, and energetic experience. It's the moment your gift feels more like a burden. And just to clarify, I've said this before. I, I created this idea around the mindful empath, and I want to assure you that I'm not trying to set myself on any kind of guru level. The mindful empath, not to sound a little schlocky and cheesy, but the mindful empath is you. Everybody exists on this spectrum of empathetic and empathic sensitivity. And the way through it and the way to manage it is through an ethic of mindfulness. I'm just doing the same shit that y'all are. Let's be honest. So, how do we navigate it? How do we stay open and connected without getting completely swamped? Today, we're going to talk about a few key strategies and put it into practice to help you manage empathic overwhelm. And we're going to use our mindful awareness as what it is, which is our most powerful tool. So let's first just acknowledge that it's a thing. Overwhelm is a real thing. It's not a weakness, it's not a character flaw. As we talked in the very first episode, Brene Brown's work tells us that empathy is feeling with someone. It's that connection, right? And for highly sensitive people and empaths, that feeling with can be so intense and visceral that it's hard to distinguish your emotions from theirs. Your nervous system is simply wired to be more responsive to that environment. So the first step is always compassion, self compassion. Stop beating yourself up for feeling this way. It's not failure, it is a biological reality. Our first strategy for managing that overwhelm is all about establishing mental and physical boundaries. And it's often the hardest thing for empaths to do because we don't want to seem aloof. We don't want to be rude. We don't want to be unhelpful. So many people who are inherently hardwired for this type of connection feel like if they cut people off from it, that they are doing themselves a disservice, and it is an unkind thing to do for other people. But I am telling you right now, and many of all have heard this turn of phrase, boundaries are not about building a wall to keep people out. They're about building a fence to protect your own garden. So what does a healthy boundary look like in practice? And some of these might come off a little esoteric and woo woo. And I am telling you that as a practice, it is absolutely powerfully a powerful thing to do. So the first thing, you can call it a bubble or like a shield visualization. And this is a classic. And it's a classic for a reason. Before you go into a crowded space, a grocery store, a party, a long meeting, school, take a moment to visualize a bubble of protective, calming energy around you. But it's semi permeable, right? You can choose what you allow in, and you can choose when to extend yourself. You can still feel love, connection, but the anxiety or negativity of others can't penetrate it as easily. Think of it as putting on your emotional raincoat. The second thing could be, again, these are very practical things, setting a time limit. If you know a conversation is going to be draining, give yourself a mental out. Communicate it. Say to yourself and to the person that you're talking to say, "Hey, you know what? I've got about 15 minutes. I want to be here for you, but after about that, I'm going to have to go." And you say to yourself, "I'm going to be present and engaged for the next 15, 20 minutes, and then I will find a moment to step away." And knowing that you've built that in, knowing you have a little bit of a release valve or an escape route can reduce the anxiety and the anticipation. And the final third of our three very practical tools to manage and mitigate overwhelm, y'all, no is a complete sentence. And guess what? All my people pleasing friends out there, you actually don't owe them a reason. Saying no to an invitation or a request that you know will drain you is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. It's a way of saying yes to yourself. And as a recovering people pleaser, I can tell you that once you start exercising your right to say no, and furthermore, exercising your right to not have to explain it, it becomes easier once you do that the first few times. Now, again, don't get me wrong, depending on who you're talking to, that no turns into other conversations, right? For our closest friends and our family, being able to confidently say no and create that boundary and not feel like you have to defend yourself, it becomes a larger conversation about the social contracts that we create in our relationships, right? All right. This next strategy, I guess this is an added fourth, right? Is a little bit related to what it means to ground yourself, right? Grounding is a moment in time. And grounding is also a very physical thing. When we feel overwhelmed, our energy feels all over the place. We're absorbing emotions from the past, worrying about the future. Grounding brings us back to our body, our own experience, and our own center. And there's a couple different ways that I will kind of give you that are very practical, uh, or about four different ways. The first thing is that if you are somebody who meditates, there is something that you can do within your moment of meditation that helps you in the future when you encounter moments that you need to recall that place, that energetic place, that grounding moment. And it's part of the reason why when you see people that meditate, like they'll do like their hands in a particular posture, or they will do certain things uh, with their body in order to make that moment powerful. The thing that I do, I take my left hand, put it underneath my right elbow, and then I take my right hand and kind of put it over my heart. This is a posture that you don't naturally do very often. But if you meditate like this and find yourself in regulation, if you get yourself into a spot where you feel like you need to ground, physically move your body back into that spot, and you will find yourself getting back into that grounded moment a little bit more efficiently. The other part is noticing your feet, feeling your feet flat on the floor or wiggling your toes, noticing the pressure, the texture, the temperature. The simple act of recognizing how you feel in this moment, in this space, connects you to the earth below you and pulls your energy down in kind of an anchored motion. One of the tested, time tested ones is focusing on your breath. Don't try to change your breath, just notice it. Feel the air as if it comes in through your nose, out through your mouth. Notice the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. Your breath is always going to bring you into the moment. It is an anchor response. This next one is pretty powerful, and I was very pleased and proud to see it in real time, actually, within an elementary counselor perspective. My daughter had a moment where she was going through a panic attack, and she went to the counselor, and this counselor used this tool in order to help her find her ground. And it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. This exercise brings all of your senses in and forces you to exit your emotional chaos, and it re-engages with your physical surroundings. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we need to talk about processing and releasing the energy we have absorbed. As empaths, we've used this uh, we've used this image before. We can be like sponges, and if we don't wring ourselves out, we become heavy and waterlogged. And this is where mindful self-care is essential. So, what does that mean to you? It might mean something different for everyone. Mindful movement, go for a walk, stretch, do yoga, dance in your living room. Physical movement helps to release stagnant energy and emotions from your body. And as you walk, for example, just notice your steps, notice your feet on the ground, the swing of your arms, the feeling of the breeze. This turns a simple walk into meditation. Meditation, by definition, is just the act of noticing, the act of focusing. Next one is nature therapy. And I know very few people that don't really require this on a semi-regular basis. Spend time outdoors. Vitamin D. Natural world has a unique way of resetting our nervous system. Take off your shoes if you can. Feel the grass or the soil beneath your feet. It is an absolutely powerful way to ground and cleanse your energy. And then this is one that not everybody really can get on board with, but I'm telling you, if you can, even to a small amount, it is very powerful, and that is journaling. I'm a former reading and writing teacher, so being able to put your emotions on paper is a powerful thing to do in order to release them. It's a great way to process overwhelm, to get it out of your head and onto the page. And it can just be a few minutes of free write about what you're feeling. You don't worry about grammar, you don't worry about structure, you don't worry about making it sense or having it make sense to anybody but yourself. It's a very simple act of putting a name to the feeling. Now, I have found, and there will be future episodes where we specifically talk about this, that using tarot as a tool for mindful introspection and journaling is an absolutely killer way to practice your journaling. And we will get into how that works and what that might look like in a future episode. Empathic overwhelm is a challenge, and maybe for many of you all, it's the reason why you're listening to this podcast. It does not have to define you. It is a signal that your sensitive system needs attention and care. And by using mindfulness, by setting boundaries, by grounding yourself, by releasing what isn't yours to carry, you can begin to transform your empathic sensitivity from a source of exhaustion into a powerful gift. And yes, into a superpower. Thank you again, my friends, for joining me. I will be back in a week or two to drop more episodes, and hopefully that we will start listening to stories, to your stories, perhaps. So until then, peace, love, and kindness. Have a good one.